All right, welcome to The Explainer. So, what if you felt like the modern world wasn't just flawed, but was actually crumbling all around you? Today, we're digging into a pretty radical survival guide for that exact scenario, Julius Evola's Ride the Tiger. It's basically a manual for anyone who feels like they're one of the last people still standing. Right from the get-go, the book throws us into this really stark landscape to introduce its hero. And look, this isn't for just anyone. It's written for a very specific kind of person, someone who feels like they're still on their feet, even while everything else is turning to dust. Okay, so what exactly are these ruins he's talking about? Well, before we can even get to the solution, we've got to understand the problem, the diagnosis of the modern age itself. So, the whole idea here hinges on this massive conflict between two totally opposing forces. On one side, you've got the world of tradition. Think stable, constant, meaningful. And then you've got the modern world, which is presented as its polar opposite, just chaos, dissolution, and decay. So, who is this book really for? It's for what he calls the differentiated man. This is for the person who feels totally out of step with the times, an individual whose internal compass, whether they know it or not, is still pointing toward that lost world of tradition, even though they have to live in this modern one. Okay, so your first instinct might be, hey, let's fix this decaying world, right? Well, according to this text, that's a huge mistake, a profound mistake, actually. Before we get to the solution, it's made very, very clear which path you should not take. Look, trying to prop up or defend what's left of the, quote, bourgeois world, it's just seen as a losing battle. The thinking is it's not just pointless because the rot is too deep, it's also a major compromise of your own principles. This is where the logic gets really interesting. The whole modern crisis is broken down into three stages. So step one, you've got the original world of tradition. Step two, the bourgeois world comes along and basically rejects it. That's the first negation. So the big question becomes, what if the collapse of our world right now is actually step three, a kind of negation of the negation, a destructive event that, weirdly enough, might clear the path for something new? So this leaves our differentiated man in a real bind, right? If you can't fight it, you can't defend the old ways, and you can't just run and hide, what on earth is left to do? And that brings us to the core thesis of the entire book. And now we get to the central metaphor of this entire survival manual, the radical and frankly wild principle that gives the book its name. So the solution he proposes? It's drawn from this old Far Eastern saying, and the entire philosophy, the whole shebang, is boiled down to just three simple words. So, get this. You don't fight the tiger of modernity head on. You don't even try to stop it. Instead, you get on its back. The whole idea is to use its own wild momentum, right? You let the destruction just run its course while you stay firm, you ride it out, waiting for that exact moment it finally wears itself out. And that's when you can take control. Now, this whole idea isn't happening in a vacuum. It's set within a very specific context, the Kali Yuga. It's a concept from Hindu cosmology that basically means the dark age, the final, chaotic, messy part of a civilization's cycle. And according to the author, that is exactly where we are right now. Okay, so what kind of inner mindset do you need to pull this off? What kind of mental fortitude does it take to actually ride this tiger of chaos? To pull this off, you need a very specific mindset called apalethia. Now, this doesn't mean you go live in a cave. It's more about building up this inner state of radical detachment, from all the day-to-day drama of politics and society. The goal is to create this internal distance that makes you, untouchable by it all. And this powerful quote from Nietzsche is used to really capture that feeling behind apaleia, a deep, profound disinterest in the games of the modern ruling class, seeing their power as just, bartering and haggling with the rabble. So when all the external stuff, politics, society, even traditional morals, has completely failed, what do you have left to hold on to? Well, the only guide you can truly rely on is your own absolute inner self. The supreme law then becomes this unwavering loyalty to your own nature. And all of this builds up to the final and maybe the most challenging idea in the entire book. And this is where the perspective just flips entirely.
For this differentiated man, the chaos of the modern world isn't some random tragedy you just have to suffer through. No, it's reframed as a deliberate test, a trial of your own strength and character.
This quote, which the text cites, really nails the essence of this trial. It's about finding strength not in spite of a meaningless world, but because of it. It's about seeing how long you can stand that void, because once you can, then you can start to organize your own little piece of it. And so we're left with the book's ultimate provocation. It's an invitation to stop seeing all this chaos and decay as an ending, and instead see it as a challenge. A challenge that is asking for a very specific and deeply personal answer from deep within you.